Buenos dias. How are you doing this morning? Happy day 150 of the year. Hopefully you woke up well rested after a lovely night of rest and you're ready to start the cycle of a new day and the cycle of a weekend. It is Saturday and it is a beautiful sunny day here in Cape Town. I watched the sunrise over the mountains again this morning and the sun is shining. It's going to be a gorgeous day, so I'm looking forward to getting outside and enjoying it. Hopefully that's available to you as well. We are on day 150 of the year, and according to 365 Tao by Deng Ming Tao, our word on the 150th day of the year is mercy. So grab your books, grab your journal and something to write with. Find that nice quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so while we read together. Remember that 15 minutes is just 1% of your day. And 1%, it might not seem like too much on one day, like day-to-day basis, but when you put 1% and you compound it over time, as we've been doing for 150 days now, you're hopefully going to start seeing and feeling the benefits of committing to this practice of starting your day nice and slow, with intention, in an analog way, connecting with nature, connecting with your breath, being here and now and present. So take a nice deep breath in, with a long exhale out. Open up your book to page 150 and let's start reading together on the subject of mercy. Uphold precepts, but be merciful. Gradually absorb until there is no need for law. Gain wisdom beyond right and wrong. There was a young priest who returned to the community of his birth. Instead of the neighborhood he knew as a boy, the community was now predominantly homosexual. He was uncertain. On one hand, he had to serve the people. On the other hand, his sect forbade homosexuality and condemned it as a grave wrong. It would seem that whatever he did, he would be a hypocrite. He eventually decided to accept all who came to him, but still uphold the doctrines of his sect. He saw his most important duty as mercy, and so he was able to help others without truly violating his precepts. When there are contradictions between beliefs, one must resolve them in favor of what one judges to be the higher principle. We should not sell our ideals short for the sake of expediency or selfishness. Following a particular spiritual tradition means a full commitment to its rules in order to gain the essence of that tradition. But we cannot afford to be dogmatic. Human law is imperfect. There will always be unprecedented circumstances. Thus, we must go beyond the rules and operate instead from pure wisdom. We must act with experience, flexibility, and insight. Let us so absorb integrity, experiencing both its triumphs and defeats, that we do the right thing intuitively. Ooh, this is a really good one. Tradition is first. Mercy is greater than tradition. Wisdom is greater than mercy. Wow, this is probably quite a dilemma that a lot of us have faced throughout our lifetime, and it is definitely part of the human condition, right? As it says here, you've often got like a couple of options that are available to you, and it's like, okay, if I do that, it's going to be against that, and I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I also want to be a good person. And it's one of those things that sometimes we grapple with, especially as it relates to something like a religion, which has like quite a set of rules. It has a doctrine, it has like certain things that you can and cannot do, but then you don't want to be so rigid in your worship or your devotion to that faith that you're also lacking the mercy, lacking compassion, lacking human to human connection. So have a think about that if that's ever come up for you, especially recently. Perhaps you've been facing a situation where you feel like there is something that you should do that's perhaps the right way, but then there's a set of rules, or as it says here, there's like something in your culture, there's something in your tradition that says that that's not the right thing to do. However, you feel conflicted against it. And that's why it says here, you need to have integrity. You need to make decisions for yourself, as it says right here. You judge for yourself what is the highest principle. You can't just blindly follow rules that go against your unique and your authentic self. So that's what I love about the Tao. It's obviously about spirituality. It's about connecting with a higher power. It's about being, the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. But all of the emphasis on making decisions is on you. You don't have to follow a set of rules. You don't have to follow a doctrine. There isn't like somebody up in the sky looking over you and telling you what to do. At the end of the day, you have to be the judge of what is right and wrong. And as it says here, that can be based on your experience and your wisdom. And we often say here in the mornings together, we need to have book smarts and street smarts. And this is a really good example of that. Yes, you need to understand that as human beings, we need to have laws, we need to have rules, and those are things that need to be followed. That's being book smart, right? That's being intelligent. But then you also have to have compassion as a human being and experience as a human being and be like, okay, even though that says this, there are some circumstances where there needs to be flexibility with that. That doesn't really apply in this case. And I personally believe that this decision is going to be the right one, even if this book tells me that it can't be. So there's a lot to kind of take in this morning's passage. I invite you to reread it in your own time. Meditate on any of those sentences that you pull out, and perhaps you want to use one of them as a journaling prompt. Thank you so much for being here for 150 days of the year, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Bye.